We will now be continuing our discussion with the Wonderware in Touch application and try to continue with our interface by putting some values or meaning to this interface. We will now be discussing two new topics such as creation of tags and at the same time creating animation in a particular Wonderware in Touch interface. Tags are very essential since these are variables that denotes a particular value either within our simulation or a variable within a particular device outside Wonderware in Touch. Tags are very essential to create animation as well as notification alarms in a particular system. To create a new tag, we go to Special, then Tag Name Dictionary. In the Tag Name Dictionary, you have New, Restore, Delete, Save, Select, Cancel, and Close. We could also create a tag name or a specified tag name or variable, as well as the type of the tags we will be creating. We have other default tags, as you can see, that is embedded in Wonderware in Touch. These are useful when we try to create some simple applications that requires us to have a tags that needs to create or to get the value of a date, string, or a time, even alarms. Now, to create a new tag, click on New, and as you can see, we can now access some parameters in our particular tag name dictionary dialog box. In the tag name for this session, we will be having our bag, our, our new tag name. The valve will symbolize the opening and closing of our bag in our particular HMI. The next step we need to do is to create what type of tag does the valve have. So as you can see on the tag types, we have three different types of tags. We have memory, I/O, and indirect. Memory are types of tags that can be used that resides within the memory of our computer. This can be used on simulation or other peripherals that doesn't require to get any values from a particular device. I/O discrete or I/O is a type of tag that is being used if we want to access a particular value outside of our computer, which is actually our PLC. Indirect are some of the tags that can be used to access a particular tag outside of the computer and accesses in other computers. We have other tag types that denotes what type of value does it need to input or output in a particular HMI. We have discrete, integer, real, and message. Discrete are values that are either ones or zeros. Integer are negative and positive values that are either a whole number. Real, on the other hand, are positive negative values with a particular value that has either a decimal point. In this particular session, since we are only opening and close the valve, and we will be doing a simulation of our HMI interface, we will be choosing memory discrete for now. So we'll be checking the memory discrete and click on OK. By doing that, we have our type, which is memory discrete, as well as other options such as initial values on or off. We will be setting the initial value of our tag as off. After doing that, click on save, then close. By this time, we have our valve that will signify a particular indication or notification such as either opening or closing the valve. For simulation purposes, we will be using that particular valve in in this application. Now, to create some animation, we need to first give life to our buttons. To do that, we double click first on the on button, and by double clicking on our on button, you will see what we call animation dialog box. The animation dialog box, you will see what would be the behavior of our particular push buttons in our interface. We have touch links to serve as the input animation of our particular buttons or any switches. Now, we will be using the touch push button discrete value at this point. Clicking on the discrete value asks us what would be the tag name of our button. So the tag name for our button would be val. And we set our action either direct, reverse, toggle, reset, or set. Direct means when you try to press the button, you will be putting a value of 1 in the particular valve. When you try to release the button, it will set the valve again to 0. Reverse, on the other hand, is the vice versa of direct. Toggle, on the other hand, or the word toggle, latches a particular button on the on or off position. Reset sets the value to 0, and set sets the value to 1. So we'll be using set at this point when we try to click on OK. Let us try to do that on the off push button. On the off push button, we go again to the switch values. We have the same tag name, but this time our action will be reset. Click on OK to finish. Lastly, we have our last push button, which is an on and off push button. Double click on the on and off push button to set the user inputs. User inputs means that you could do particular options, either that would be discrete, analog, or stream. It means one button could actually serve as either an on and off button by having an option called user inputs. So we'll be clicking discrete for the user inputs. Again, the title that we will be using is blank. Now, we could set the prompt in on message to on or off. As a default, we'll leave this one for now. Then click on OK. Lastly, to make something happen on this symbol, double click on this symbol, and this time we'll be choosing the output options on the second, third, and fourth column. In this lesson, we'll be using the blink and the miscellaneous to serve as the notification whether that the button will be or the valve will be on or off. Clicking on the blink function asks us to have an expression when will be our blink happen. So an expression is an if statement that it will blink when a particular expression is met. In this period, we know that when we try to set our valve equal to 1, we need to blink our valve. So, by doing some little bit of programming, basic programming, I'll be using valve is equal to 1. Then, the blink attributes will be blink visible to these attributes. We can change the text color, the line color, and the flow color. Since we have no text color, we just leave this one behind. But the line color will be changed to green, as well as the fill color, signifying that it will be blinking green during the valve is on. Once we are finished, we can also check for the blink speed, whether the blink will be slow, medium, or fast. Let us set to the medium. Let us set it to medium as a default. Then we can click now on OK. Lastly, we need to change the valve and its initial condition when it is off must be black. To do that, we click on the symbol, then go to our color toolbar or format toolbar and change the fill color to black. As you can see, now our valve is black, indicating that the valve is off. Now, to simulate our interface, we will be now going to what we call a window viewer. To do that, we have the runtime icon located at the upper right portion of our window maker application. Click on runtime, close to what we call window viewer. Now, we have our buttons to turn on. As you can see, as I try to turn on, the valve blinks from black to green. When I try to turn off, the valve turns to black. This is using what we call touch inputs, in which we try to declare the on and off to be set and reset. Now, to have the other push button, user, user inputs, we click on the off push button located below the valve. Now, as you can see, we have two options from our user inputs. We can turn it on or turn it off. By this time, we have created our main window and we have created an animation to turn on or turn off the valve. To go back to development or to go back to our window maker application to edit some of our windows, we can click on the development. As I did click on development, we now proceed back to our window maker. Now, I'll be creating an additional push button that serves as our button to go to a particular window. I change or substitute string and change the new string to go to slider. For now, I'll leave this one behind. Then next, we will be creating a new window having a new name called slider. The same, and I'll be leaving this one behind and serve as a replace window type single. Check on the title bar and the dimensions will be the same as what we have on our main toolbar. Then now we click on OK. We now proceed to our new window and we call this window a slider. At this point, we will be creating an analog timeline so we can see the characteristics of a particular memory integer, and it could be also be related to memory real. So in the slider window, we need to create a particular icon that serves as a sliding from 0 to 100. To do that, we have what we call the Visuals Toolbox. And as you can see at our top portion of our window maker, the Visuals Toolbox could be seen and the Wizard Toolhat icon. Click on the Wizard's toolbox and on the Wizard selection, you can see sliders. We will be clicking on the vertical slider at this particular lesson. We need to position the slider on any point of our window, but I'll be putting it on the upper left portion. As you can see, we have a new interface. We call it a slider, and we can move the slider up and down later on. You can change the property of the slider by double clicking on it. Now, we are asked to have a tag name, label, fill and text color, as well as a slide range and tick marks. We will be having a slide range of 0 to 100, and the tick box will be leaving as a default. We will be having a label slider as a default with a fill color the same. We will be having a new tag name, and I'll be putting this one as level. As you can see, this tag name is not yet existing, but I tried to type it already in the slider wizard because we could actually put a new tag name on that tag name dialog box and double click on it. As you can see, it goes to tag name dictionary easy with the tag name level again. This time, we will be changing the type of our tag and put it as memory integer. Check the memory integer and click on OK. This time, we'll be having a new dialog box which serves as having the minimum and maximum value of our particular tag. I'll set my minimum to 0 and maximum value as 100. I set the initial value of my level first as equal to 0. By this time, we have created now a new tag name with a new tag name type, memory integer, so that we can use our slider to move up and down. Click on the same icon and click on close. Now we have prepared already a slider wizard with the tag name of level on it. Click on OK. The next thing that we need to do is to create text by clicking on the text icon. On the text icon, I just click on the window and put 3 sharps on it, or 3 pound signs. The 3 pound signs declare a particular value on which it will be following the value of the slider. So now, by having animations have a value on it, I double click on the text that we have created, then go to value display. The value display will be analog. The expression will be level. That will be the tag name that will be reflected on our text. Click on OK. Then let us try to check it on runtime. As you can see, when we try to run on the runtime, since the slider is its initial value of 0, the value of our text will be equal to 0. But as I said on my slider, it changes its value depending on how the slider moves. Going back again to development, and let us try to finish this topic by adding a button. And I'll be putting this, substituting it, and putting it, go to me. Click on OK. Then I'll be clicking on this button. Then going to the touch push buttons, I'll be clicking on show window. I'll be putting the main, insert the main so that When I try to click on this button, it will go back to my previous window, which is the main window. Click on open. Same goes with our main window. We have go to slider, double click on go to slider, be putting this as show window, then instead of me, I'll be clicking the slider window. Click on OK. Let's check that the start request it to runtime if the button will actually work. When I click go to main, it go back to my main window. When I go to slider, it goes to my slider window. Going back into the development, don't forget to save your work. This will be all for today. Thank you.